In this short video, we are going to look at how you can integrate your Google Cloud with CyberArk Identity and SCA for zero standing privileges access. So let's get started. On the Google side, you can see I have already integrated with my Azure AD or Entra ID. This is what my Microsoft sign in and sign out page URL looks like. If I go to my Entra ID, you can see I'm leveraging upon the Google Cloud app and everything is done from the Entra ID. So here you can see 4 of the users got permission. From a user experience standpoint, so I'm just going to my Entra ID. So here, if I click on my Google Cloud tile, you will be able to see by default, I'm not getting any kind of a permissions at all. So I don't see any kind of a projects, so no roles at all. This is how the user experience is going to look like. But now the point comes, right? How the permissions can be granted to the user. So that's where we have to do configuration. So here I'm going to my identity administration. So we are going to deploy a web app. So here I'm going to choose Google Cloud as my web application. So it takes a couple of seconds. So let's search it with Google Cloud. So we are going to deploy this application now. So application has been added. I'm going to name it as secondary IDP. So here, my primary domain name, if I go to my Google IDP, my domain name is scsolutionsdemo.com. I'm going to configure it here. And so that's pretty much what we have to do on the settings. So let's go to the trust. In trust, you can see all the different details about the metadata and all these things. We will go to the Google Workspace SSO with third-party IDP. We are going to create a new SAML profile. I'm going to name this profile as identity or CyberArk privilege access. So here we have to provide the details about the IDPs, sign-in page URL, and all these things. So what I'll do, I'll go to my entity ID first. So let's copy this. So this is what our sign-in page URL. In terms of the sign-out page URL, so what we are going to do, so I will configure this URL as my sign-out page URL as well for the change password. So I'm going to copy and paste here. So I'll configure it like this. Now we have to upload the certificate. So I'm going to go to the CyberArk identity. So we are going to download the certificate. So as the next step, so we will go back and we are going to upload the certificate. So now you can see certificate has been uploaded, and then you have to click on save button. Once you click on a save button on the Google side, it will provide you entity ID and ACS URL. I'm gonna copy this. We're gonna go to the service provider configuration. I'm gonna choose a manual as an option. So we're gonna paste it here. And we are gonna go to the Google Workspace again. I'm gonna copy this ACS URL as well. So these are the few settings what we have to do. I'm just gonna click on save button. And then as the next step, what we have to do, you have to go to the SAML response. And by default, this is the SAML script. So this SAML script doesn't work. So if you're configuring CyberArk identity as a secondary IDP on the Google Workspace, which we are doing it right now, So what we are going to do, we are going to copy this small script. So it is talking about the issuer, subject name, and HTTP destination. So that's pretty much about it. I'm gonna click on Save button. We don't have to worry about the provisioning at all because provisioning is done directly from Entra ID. So this one is all good. And so I'm going to assign a permissions to my users. So I'm gonna assign a permissions to my AWS cloud is a group I created in Active Directory. So I'm gonna assign the permission to this particular group. So here I'm just gonna grant a viewing permission. So we are going to click on save. So now what we can do, so let's try to see whether authentication goes through from CyberArk identity to the Google Cloud Platform. So I have login as one of the user called AWS at the rate of scsolutionsdemo.com. So this user is part of my AWS Cloud group. So let's click on this tile and let's see whether user can authenticate or not. So we got an error that user cannot authenticate at all. So we are going to create a organizational unit and we are going to configure all these privileged users. So let me sign in again. So we're going to go to the directory, click on the organizational unit. So this is the group I created called privileged users. So we are going to park the user called AWS as the rate of scsolutionsdemo.com under this privileged user so that user will be able to authenticate from CyberArk identity as well. So I'm going to go to the users. So if you click on this AWS and AWS2 users, we can park these users under the privileged users configuration. So here you can see these users are already part of the privileged users organizational unit. If I click on the privileged users, you can see all the three different users part of my privileged users organizational unit. So as a next step, we have to go to the SSO with third-party app, and we have to make some changes in terms of the mapping. So I'm gonna go to my SSO with third-party IDP. So we are going to manage, click on the manage SSO profile assignment. So here by default, the scsolutionsdemo.com, you can see all the users should be able to access using the organization third-party SSO profile. So that's where we have configured Entra ID or Azure ID. For privileged users, so what we are going to do, we are going to pick another SSO profile, and I'm going to select my CyberArk privilege access SAML. So I'm going to save it. So now the management of the SSO profile assignment has been done successfully. Let's go back to our user and let's try going to the Google Cloud again. So here you can see I'm able to log in as a AWS at the rate of scsolutionsdemo.com. But like the way we were accessing it from Entra ID, so currently this particular user has 0 permissions. So what we are going to do, so we are going to leverage upon CyberArk Secure Cloud Access to provide the permissions. So I'm going to click on the Google Cloud. So we are going to name the policies as a ZSP policy. So currently for policy time frame, I'm keeping it as never expire. Click on next. So I'm going to assign a permission at this particular project called Cosmic Keep. So I'm simply gonna assign the basic role permission called owner. I'm gonna click on select, gonna click on next. Here on the identities, so I'm going to select my AWS Cloud Active Directory group. So now the permissions has been granted. Again, the maximum session length is 1 hour. And here you can see the permission has been given to this particular user for all the different areas. So I'm going to click on activate policy. So it takes a couple of seconds to do all the validation and all the checks, and then the policy is going to be activated. So we created a policy, but looks like the policy is failing. If I go to the identity administration, so one of the steps we have missed out, we should have enabled a secure cloud access. So I'm gonna click on save, and then we're gonna go to the policy again. I'm gonna apply it, and if required, I'm going to create a new policy. So what I noticed, my existing policy, somehow it didn't get successful. It is still failing. So I have created a new policy, the test policy GCP, and then I'm assigning this policy to the AWS Cloud group. So now the policy creation has been done successfully. Let's go to my identity administration tab. If I go to my web app, to my permissions, my policy has been assigned successfully to the AWS Cloud group. I'm going to log in as a user. So I'm going to sign out. So I'm going to reload my rights. So we are going to select this Google Cloud platform. So it is going to redirect us to the CyberArk Secure Cloud Access user page. And from there, we are going to get the permissions on the fly. So here you can see, I can elevate my permission for this particular role called owner and for this specific project. So what I'll do, I'll simply click on a connect button. And then behind the scenes, CyberArk Secure Cloud Access is going to elevate the permissions, and then user will be able to connect to the Google Cloud, and then user can do the job. Again, the role elevation is going to happen only for 1 hour. After that, the user will go back to the 0 standing permission. So here, so I'm going to click on a continue button. So you will be able to see, hey, this particular user do have the privileges for one specific project called here 15085, and then I can perform whatever action I want. So this is how the overall user experience is going to look like. So one of the question we get from a lot of customers, hey, if the authentication is going to happen from CyberArk identity, where the same user can authenticate from Entra ID as well. Answer is yes. So here also you will be able to see user can authenticate from Entra ID as well. And now, because this user has been given a permissions for this particular my project 15085, so that's how this particular user can see the project and can perform the job. So thanks a lot everyone for watching this short video.